Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Gladys. I post Monday mystery videos and bookish Thursday videos. And yeah, let's get into it because today I have a pretty exciting video, and I know I say that in all of my videos. But today we are going to be talking about books that I do not recommend enough. And I was going through my bookshelf and I actually have a couple of books I don't recommend enough. I might have to do another video because I don't want to bombard you guys with a whole bunch of recommendations. So let's get started. The first book that I'm going to be talking about is a book that I'm so upset I don't recommend enough because it's an amazing book, and that's going to be The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And oh my god, I instantly fell in love with this book. It has to do with an old Hollywood star who rose to stardom basically in the 50s, and she is known as Evelyn Hugo. She had 7 husbands, and everybody kind of has always wanted to know her story, and she really has never put much out there. Pretty much anything that the press writes, she went with it. So she is at an age where she's already retired and she feels like maybe it's time for her to voice everything that she went through all her life and about her 7 husbands. So she ends up hiring this writer named Monique, who is not a really known journalist, but she hires Monique. Monique doesn't know why Evelyn picked her, but she ends up finding out throughout the story. And let me just tell you guys that this story made me cry, and it put into perspective everything that we read about actresses and actors or celebrities in general. You know, the articles that we read sometimes are so crazy to me that I'm just like, you have to take everything with a grain of salt, because through Evelyn's perspective and everything that she went through and pretty much everything that was talked about her, it's so heartbreaking. And let me just tell you guys that this story is beautiful and it's well done. And I know Taylor has another book coming out this year and I'm so excited for it. I talked about it on my 2021 recommendations, and oh, I'm so excited. But you guys, read this book, it's amazing. And the next book that I'm going to be recommending to you guys is a tongue twister, and that's going to be The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. This is the Netflix adaptation cover here with Lily James, and I don't know his name, but great book, great movie. You guys, this is such a good story. This is about a writer named Juliet who gets a letter from one of the members of the Potato Peel Pie Society. So the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society is a group of people who created during a time where the Nazis had taken over their land and they were not able to read, so they used to do it on basically on the down low, like they used to do it in hiding. And they came up with the name because they had gotten stopped by a group of Nazi people or Nazi officers, and they questioned them, and that's the name that they came up with. But it's a beautiful story. I loved it. Juliet gets a letter from one of the members, and she ends up going to their island to visit them, and she meets a group of, you know, crazy characters, and she also discovers a lot of the things that they went through when they were under the I guess control of the Nazi officials. So it's a really, really good story. If you guys don't like the book or you guys don't feel like reading it, at least watch the movie. It's a really, really good movie, but it's a beautiful book. There's a lot of things that are left out in the movie, so I still recommend it. And I love Lily James. Look at her. She's so adorable. The next 2 books are going to be by the same author. And I swear to God, I need to make a video of this author already, or these authors. It's going to be Christina Lauren. And these are from the Beautiful series. I do want to make a video of Christina Lauren's books, kind of in order of how you should read them and my favorites, but I feel like I don't recommend these enough. I always recommend Beautiful Bastard and Sweet Filthy Liar, but these are really good and these are some of my favorites. We have Beautiful Secret here, which has to do with Ruby and Neil, who Neil's like Ruby's boss, and they end up taking a trip to New York. And let me just say something real quick. These are for 18 and over. I don't want any of my younger people, like younger viewers, reading these because I don't want you guys to get in trouble. But both of these are very sexual, so please, please beware. But this one has to do with Ruby again. They're from, well, she's from the US, but she's working in London, and they take a trip to New York together for work, and secrets come out during this trip. And this one has to do with Sarah, who just broke up with her boyfriend because he was cheating on her, and she ends up going to New York where she's working, and she meets a guy named, what's his name? Max. And oh, I completely just realized this. Max and Neil are actually brothers. But yeah, this takes place in New York, and so does this, but it also takes place in London. Great stories, you guys. Again, they do have some sexual things in there, so please beware. And again, if my cousins are watching this, don't read these. But yeah, another book that I don't recommend enough, and it's going to be a thriller slash mystery, and that is He Will Be My Ruin by K.A. Tucker. And you guys, I love K.A. Tucker. She writes some of my favorite romances, but this here is one of her thriller books, and it is probably one of my favorite books of hers. And I hate that I don't recommend this enough, because this one had me on the edge of my seat. He Will Be My Ruin revolves around a girl named Maggie who travels to, I believe, New York because her best friend Celine pretty much died. And her death was ruled a suicide, but Maggie's like, I don't think so. So when she goes to New York and she kind of starts to look through, well, she has to pack up Celine's stuff. She uncovers that Celine has a lot of secrets she was not telling anyone. And she takes it upon herself to figure out if her friend did commit suicide or if someone killed her. I was just like, oh my God, I need to know what's happening. But it's a good one, please. If you like mystery slash thriller, I think you guys will like this. The next book that I'm going to be recommending is not really a fictional book. I kind of want to start recommending more books to you guys other than fiction, but it's going to be a self-help book, I would say, or even relationship book, and that's going to be The 5 Love Languages. And you guys, this was a gift by one of my really good friends, Monica, and it's so good. When I read it, like, I always kind of knew the type of person that I was. I am someone that loves gifts. I've always loved them, even little things. And I feel like gifts have always made me really happy, and it's how I know that people really know me and love me. But this really shows you, because I always knew that, but I never actually said it out loud. I never really even thought about it. I was never like, I mean, I was like, I love gifts, but I was never like, gifts are the way that I feel loved, you know? And this really does show you that. Like, for example, for my fiance, I would say that his love language is more acts of service and physical touch. He loves when like hug him, and I'm not a touchy-feely type of person. So it's all about learning. So by reading stuff like this, it helps you learn. And I really, really enjoyed this book. I know a couple people who said they didn't really like it, but I liked it. I feel like it really helped me understand the type of love that I like to receive, and it allows you to have those type of conversations with your significant other or even your family members. And if you're just starting to get into the whole love language thing, this is a good starter. But yeah, this is a really good one. Another self-help book that I would recommend is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And this is actually a book that was gifted to me by one of my family members, and it's such a beautiful book. It basically goes over the 4 agreements that you should have in life to help you become not only a good person, but it can also help you transform your life to, I would say, like the next level. So for example, it goes over the 4 agreements. So be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. It just helps you, I would say, like with your everyday connections and communication. So I think this is a great self-help book. So the next book that I'm going to be recommending is a book that I do talk about a little bit, but I don't think I've recommended it. And it's going to be Before We Were Free by Julia Alvarez. And this is a book that completely broke my heart. It's an easy read. It's actually really small. I think I finished it like in a couple of hours, but it's so beautiful and it's so sad. It has to do, just thinking about it gets me all emotional, but it has to do with this young girl named Anita. It's told from her perspective. It's told during the time when the Dominican Republic is under control of dictator Trujillo. And I mean, any country that's gone through something like this, it's so heartbreaking. And especially because it's told from a young girl's point of view, it's so sad. And when I got this book, I was like, oh, I think it's too young for me. I mean, she's 12 in this book. But honestly, you guys, it's really, really heartbreaking because she's a really, really smart girl and she's kind of taking it all in, and seeing things from her perspective is heartbreaking. But yeah, I really recommend this one. And Julia Alvarez has other books that continue on. So for example, I recently bought another one called How the Garcia Sisters Lost Their Accent, and it continues with her cousin's story now that they're in the US. Again, I really recommend this one. I think it's a beautiful story and it's a quick read. So we have another one called, oh, you can already see it. It's called The Shanghai Sisters by Lisa C. And oh my God, I love this book. Yeah, I got this one at my used bookstore and I literally just fell in love with Lisa C. I'm currently reading her other song. I'm currently reading her other book called Peony in Love, and I'm really, really enjoying that one too. But this one has to do with two sisters that are living in China, and they're living during a time where they have a little bit of freedom, but not too much. And especially not after they find out that their dad actually sold them to a man that lives in the US. So they have been sold and married off to two gentlemen that live in LA. So they have to travel all the way from China to LA. And their plan is to escape their marriage by escaping China. But that plan pretty much gets destroyed when the Japanese start to take over China. And we get to see their journey from China to LA and then their life in LA. And let me just tell you guys that this story broke my heart. I finished reading it on my mom's birthday, and I remember I was crying to her because these sisters really reminded me of my mom and her sisters, and it's so heartbreaking, yet it's a beautiful, beautiful story. And I love learning about not only the Chinese culture in China, but the way the Chinese culture has evolved here in the US, especially in Chinatown, because they do go into details about Chinatown. Just read this book, you guys. I swear, it's such a beautiful book, and it completely broke my heart, and I love it. Okay, so I have one more book I want to recommend to you guys, and of course, I have to include Isabel Allende in this video, and that's going to be The Stories of Evelyn. You guys, read this book. It's short stories that are included in here. And let me see if I can show you guys the fact that the prologue is like highlighted by me over and over. You guys, this book is so beautiful. And let me just say something. Isabel Allende is a beautiful writer. Like, I swear to God that her story brings me to my knees. I love this girl. She writes some of the most beautiful stories. There's so many other books by her, but there's so many stories in this book included that, I don't know, like there's something so, I want to say like polite but raw of her. You know, she writes stories that include a lot of like heritage, but there's a story about the girl that gets stuck under the house when there's a mudslide, and there's people that travel from other like pueblos, pretty much like other little towns, to come and take a look at this girl, but no one helps her. And it's just so crazy, you guys. I'm telling you guys, Isabel Allende is a beautiful writer, and I feel like if I could recommend any books, because she has great ones, like there's The Japanese Lover, The House of Spirits, and then there's this one. I love this one. Like, this one completely stole my heart. And yeah, I highly recommend her if you guys are looking for like Latin, because she's from Chile, I believe. But if you guys are looking for any type of writing that does include some sort of, you know, Latin community in there, Isabel Allende is a great one. And yeah, so that is it for today. Again, I might be making another book recommendation because I had a lot of books stacked up. I just did not want to overwhelm you guys. But I hope that you guys liked some of these books. And if you guys do like them, or if you guys have read any of them, or even if you guys have any recommendations, remember to leave them down below. Other than that, you guys, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.